Hey guys, welcome to your 4th week at Flash Course. And this week we're going to talk about crime and punishment. I know you are good, innocent people, but we still need to know how to name different types of crimes and what vocabulary you can use while talking about crimes and punishment. Now let's talk about one of the most popular types of crimes. It's breaking the speed limit. I think pretty much every driver, at least once in their life, has broken the speed limit. A speed limit is the highest speed allowed on a certain area of the road. When you break the speed limit, you drive above that number. Sometimes that can be because of DUI. DUI is driving under the influence. Sometimes it can be alcohol or drugs. Drunk driving is prohibited in all the countries in the world. You can get a driving ban for drunk driving. A driving ban is when the police or the court takes your driver's license and you are not allowed to drive for some period of time. Sometimes it's 3 years, 7 years, or the whole lifetime. But for breaking the speed limit, you usually will get a fine. Fine is a sort of punishment when you need to pay money to the government for the crimes you've committed. Sometimes you can get arrested. Well, let's stop with the driving now. Let's talk about what you can get arrested for. You can get arrested for stealing things. To be arrested means to be put under control and under security by police. So let's say you stole something. Stealing means taking someone else's property without permission. So if you take someone's bag, you steal it. It's not yours, and no one told you to take it. And the policeman comes and says, you are arrested for theft. Theft is a crime when someone steals something. And the person who commits theft is called a thief. If the thief attacks the person, it's called robbery. So sometimes someone can take something and not touch the person. But if someone takes something and hits the owner, it's called robbery. And the person is the robber. It's also called mugging. And also there is a 4th type of stealing. It's called burglary. But a burglar comes into your house without your permission and without your invitation and takes something out of your house. Oh, and I forgot about 2 more crimes that are connected to stealing. First one is shoplifting. Shoplifting is a criminal act of getting some items from a shop without paying for them. So if you go shopping, you like a t-shirt. You take that t-shirt, put it in your bag, and walk out of the shop without paying for it. You committed shoplifting. The second crime is pickpocketing. Pickpocketing is a criminal act of taking someone's belongings out of their pockets on the streets. So for example, a pickpocketer is a person who puts his hand into your pocket and takes out your wallet. Usually in some countries, for shoplifting or pickpocketing, you will receive community service penalty. Community service is work done by a criminal for the community or for the good of the public without any payment. So a shoplifter will collect garbage or paint the walls or wash the floors for free. The number of hours of community service is assigned by a judge at the court. A court is an institution of justice that decides whether a person is guilty or innocent in committing a certain crime. And a judge is a person in charge at the court. Now let's move on to a different kind of crimes. It's fraud, and the person committing fraud is a fraudster. Fraud is a criminal act of getting money by deceiving other people, by lying to them. For example, you can find fraudsters online. They will text you, "Oh, it's your mom. I need some money. Can you send it to my card?" And sometimes you will send the money and the person will disappear. Another way of getting money illegally is blackmail. Blackmail is the act of threatening to harm someone or someone's reputation in order to get money. For example, your ex-boyfriend says, "I will post your pictures, sexy pictures, online if you don't give me money." That's blackmail. Another way of getting money illegally is kidnapping. For example, in the movie Home Alone, the criminals tried to kidnap the kid and get money for that kid. But the kid was smarter. Kidnapping is the act of obtaining a person and holding that person in a place against their will. So in kidnapping, there is the criminal, the person who is kidnapping, and the victim, the person who is being kidnapped. Now let's talk about crimes that involve violence. Violence is a type of behavior involving the intention to hurt someone else. The first crime is assault. Assault is generally attacking someone. The next one is disorderly conduct. Disorderly conduct is a type of behavior that is disturbing or dangerous in public. So sometimes people can get drunk and start behaving weird, and that behavior can hurt other people. Maybe they're just yelling, or maybe they are throwing things. That's called a disorderly conduct. The most violent crime is murder. The person committing murder is called a murderer, like in Rihanna's song.
I don't wanna be a murderer.
So a murder is killing someone in cold blood with an intention. Another type of murder is assassination. So the assassin or the killer in the assassination process kills a person for money. So he gets paid for it. And someone else wants to kill the victim. So anyway, if you see someone breaking a law, you need to report to the police, or you need to report the crime to the police. To break a law means to do something illegal. To report the crime to the police means to call and let the police know about the crime being committed. Some crimes need to be investigated. Usually, a detective investigates a crime and he or she needs to collect evidence. To investigate the crime means to find out the reasons and people involved in that crime. For example, a person broke into your house. There was a break-in. Someone wanted to steal your TV, but you didn't see who that was. A break-in is a process of trespassing the property without permission. So the detective needs to find out who committed that crime, needs to collect evidence. To collect evidence means to gather different materials, stories, facts, and testimonies in order to find out who is guilty and who is innocent. So sometimes a detective can find a witness. A witness is a person who saw the crime being committed and can describe it. Usually a witness is called to identify a suspect. A suspect is a person who potentially can be the criminal. If the detective suspects somebody of something, it means that the detective thinks that that person committed the crime. But before a suspect is identified by a witness and before the detective can collect enough evidence, the detective cannot charge someone with a crime. So he cannot tell that person that you are guilty. And if the detective charges the suspect with a crime, then the prosecutor starts working. Prosecution is a process of proving that someone is guilty at the court, and the suspect can have an attorney. Attorney is a person who is protecting and defending the suspect and proving that he or she is not guilty. An attorney is like an advocate, and sometimes an attorney can help the suspect get away with a crime. To get away with a crime means to be guilty of that crime, but to have no punishment. So, for example, there was not enough evidence, or their attorney was very strong and had a strong line of defense, and the jury and the judge could not convict the suspect. To convict somebody of something, for example, to convict the suspect of murder, means to blame and to prove that that person is guilty. But if the criminal is guilty, he can be sentenced to a prison or to a fine. It depends on what the crime was. Usually, if it's a murder, the murderer will be sent to prison. But if it is some street crime, the criminal can be sentenced to a fine or to community service hours. A street crime is a general term for any criminal act committed outdoors. Pickpocketing, mugging, or maybe car theft or vandalism can be street crime. To sentence someone to a prison or to a fine means to give out the punishment, to assign the punishment to that criminal. If a person is sentenced to a prison, he is sent to prison or to jail. Prison and jail are places where criminals are held captive and supervised by the security. In some states of the United States of America, people can be sentenced to a death penalty. A death penalty is the highest level of punishment when a person is killed by medication or by electricity or by some other means. For example, in post-Soviet countries, death penalty is not allowed. And sometimes if a criminal is behaving properly and doing everything well, he can be released from prison. And he can be released from prison in time or ahead of time. It depends on the decision of the court. To be released means to be let go. So he was in the prison, then the prison guard said, okay, now you can go. So that's released. So I hope that this video helped you to enrich your vocabulary and to find out more about different words and the ways you can use them together. Don't forget to pay close attention to the prepositions. If you need some more repetition, you can go back and watch this video again. I hope this video was interesting and helpful. Thank you for watching. Enjoy your week.